Hi treasures, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so I'm going to be talking to you guys today about the time that my friend's boyfriend wanted me to. I honestly do not think that I give up a vibe that I want my friend's mans. I know I have like several stories on this topic, but genuinely, like, I do not want my friend's mans. Like, no, I never, ever, ever want to compare topics of being like, oh, did he do this to you too in bed? Oh, for our 1 year anniversary, he did this. No. I don't want any of that. So it's really, really like annoying that these guys think that I don't know. But we're just going to jump right on into it today. So this is a high school story, and I don't really think I've talked about this one friend yet. So let's give her a name. I think I actually have talked about her, but I didn't give her her own like story time yet. But we're gonna call her, because I have no clue what I called homegirl in any of the other videos. We're gonna call her Bridget. Thumbs up if you get the 8 Super Rules reference. So anyways, I met Bridget like years and years ago prior to high school through somebody else, and she was like okay when I met her, like didn't really think too much about her, and then we ended up going to the same high school, and it was like, holy shit, I know exactly who you are. And I would say we didn't become friends until like the 10th grade, and I met her through one of my other friends, and then her and I ended up getting like super close. Like, we had sleepovers all the time, and it was either my house or hers, and like we spent the entire summer together, and we were just like best friends. She was the same friend that was in where I hooked up with my crush's best friend, that same story. And so yeah, so her and I were really, really good friends. Now I feel like as I'm getting older and I'm like a grown-ass woman now, and I'm getting up there with age, I feel like I tend to let friends push me around when I kind of know like their sob story, or I feel like they're really like good to me in a certain way, and so I will let them kind of run all over me. Now, I don't let men run all over me. Like, no, it doesn't happen like that, but I do let my friends, I feel like, run over me, and I'm starting to realize this pattern now as I'm older. She was kind of that friend where she was going through like a lot of stuff like at home. Like, basically she told me her story, and like I was just like, oh my god, what the hell, like that's not fair, like that shouldn't be happening to you, basically like that. And so I was giving her like a lot of support in what she was going through, as well as her boyfriend. Now, for the sake of the story, we're gonna call him, oh god, we're gonna call him Todd. So Todd was her boyfriend, and they had been together before I came into her life as her best friend, one of her best friends anyways. I would say they were together for about like 7 months, 8 months to a year, something around like, you know, big for someone in high school. So also, like, I did my hair because I was like tired of like wearing weaves, and I think it's like kind of cute, you know, if this was like over here like a little bit more, but I ended up taking out all my hair. I met Todd at one of my other friends' birthday parties, and Todd was like cool, you know, he was like a really, really nice guy, didn't really have much to say. She was definitely the more outgoing one in the relationship, but he was like super nice, and like I was like, oh, love it, love him. Me and him had no problems like talking, and then him and I actually ended up getting like very close, and I loved it. And she liked it too. Like, it wasn't even like she thought it was weird or anything like that, like when him and I would talk, because mostly him and I would basically talk about her, and like, oh, like, do you think I should do this for her, like to surprise her? And I would be like, yeah, that sounds sweet, basically something like that. So as him and I got closer, it wasn't any like concern to her, and I, again, like I'm telling you guys, like I was never into my friend's mans, like ever. I never wanted that. So it was, you know, Gucci. Now, as time went on, it started to be like she was really starting to get like annoyed with him, and she started to reminisce about her ex-boyfriend. Now, her ex-boyfriend and her were never fully together, but over heels in love with him. So she started to reminisce a lot about her ex-boyfriend and started telling me more and more about that relationship, and how one of her best friends is actually best friends with him. I know, complicated, but yeah. her boyfriend, Todd, was the 100%, like, everyone would say that he was that, like, that nice guy. Like, he was so nice. It was like, if he cheated on you, you're never gonna believe it. Like, put all your trust in this person. Nothing that was gonna be happening behind your back, basically, right? They started to get into these little, like, bickering fights because I could tell that she was just thinking about her ex-boyfriend so much. Now, the thing is that when she was telling me about her ex-boyfriend and weren't even together that long, but she just fell basically head over heels in love with him. And she would see him, like, here and there, and it was kind of like, oh my god, he's here. And she would kind of, like, make sure she wasn't seen by him. And it was, like, a whole bunch of drama with this ex-boyfriend, right? And so I remember her and I, it was summer vacation, and her and I were sitting at a McDonald's, and we were just, like, you know, talking about the guys in her life. And of course, for me, like, I wasn't allowed to date in high school, and like I said, no one liked me in high school really, so I had no, like, boy drama really of my own. So we're basically just, like, talking with her, and that's what I found was, like, a really common thing with her, is that she would really, like, talk about herself a lot. Like, it was never really about me. She was really, like, self-centered, and I don't think she meant to be, but she was just really, really self-centered, and a lot of our conversations angled towards her and in her favor. Anyways, as that's, like, going down and happening, and she's talking to me about, you know, her ex-boyfriend, and, like, kind of, like, comparing the two, and I was like, well, who do you see yourself with more? Like, yes, you can't go back to your ex-boyfriend for XYZ, and yes, you're with Todd, but, like, who are you more attracted to? Like, not just looks-wise, but, like, just personality-wise. And she was like, yeah, it's my ex-boyfriend. And I was like, that sucks, because, you know, Todd's such a really, really nice guy. I was basically giving her that speech, like, if you weren't ready to date someone, you shouldn't have dated someone so quickly if you weren't fully over your ex type thing. But I missed that speech as I got older. That's a whole other story. Bickering with Todd was because, like, you know, she's kind of getting frustrated with him that basically he's not her ex. Basically, after that conversation, I was kind of, like, looking at her weirdly, because I at that point in my time, I was like, you're an idiot. Like, Todd is fabulous. Like, Todd is perfect. Not perfect, but, like, Todd is great. Like, he does not deserve that type of fuckery at all. And so I would be messaging Todd here and there, because obviously, like, they're both coming to me with, like, their problems, like, in their relationship, like, trying to help him out to, like, how to navigate this fight so he could, like, make up with her, because he just, like, loved her so much. As I'm, like, here to, like, give him, like, guidance and help him and, like, advice, he was taking that as, like, I liked him, but it was, like, I liked him as a person. I didn't like him for me. Eventually, they break up. Me and Bridget ends up, like, kind of dwindling down our relationship, because, again, like I said, a lot of the conversations tend for her, and nothing was ever really, like, about me. And here's the thing. Just because your life may seem harder, or you may be going through, like, a certain situation, doesn't mean that I'm not going through situations too. Like, I think that friendship should be even. However, like, don't get me wrong, if things were, like, really, really extreme, yeah, 100%, you can have the floor. But you shouldn't keep the floor throughout, like, the entire friendship and never ask about said friend's life at all. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, her and I end up kind of, like, splitting off, and I kind of realized that she was kind of too self-centered for me, and I wanted a friendship that was more balanced. And I don't know what happened between her and Todd. And so I remember, like, I one day got a text from Todd, and me and him were talking, and he kind of just, like, shooting the shit, and he was, like, telling me, like, kind of stuff that happened between them. And I was like, oh, that's too bad. You know, I know that you're, like, a really, really great guy, but, like, you know, you're gonna find somebody else. Like, no worries. And Tutu's, like, he did. Like, he basically got a girlfriend, like, pretty quickly afterwards. And I just felt like he was the type of person that, like, was always in a relationship. And he treated his girls, like, amazing. Like, he was one of those guys that I met. Like, I feel like I've only met, like, 2 guys, him included, and my brother-in-law, that I was like, girl, anybody that gets them, like, you keep them. Like, don't be a fucking idiot. You keep them. So he was one of those guys, as well as my brother-in-law. So I was like, that's her loss, you know, like, you're Gucci, whatever. So when he got another girlfriend, I was like, well, duh. And so he started texting me more and more, and me and him were, like, talking and stuff like that. But again, even though her and I weren't friends, it was like, she was my friend when you guys were dating, so that's why I know you. And he would text me, like, quite a bit, and I would just stop talking just to, like, slowly ease it, because I just did not want things to be messy. Even though her and I weren't friends anymore, and we honestly barely spoke, it was like, if she ever heard that, like, him and I were talking, I didn't even want that drama. You know how high school is. So yeah, that is basically the time that my friend's boyfriend wanted me. And this was this was the first time, but the third time that's ever happened. And I just never want it to happen again. I do not ever want it to happen again. I honestly, like, now as I'm older, I just don't even, like, I don't even want to talk to my friend's mans. Like, if I have your number, it's because we're going to be planning her a surprise party, you know? Or him, like, whether my friend's a boy or not, whatever. But, like, I am not going to have my friend's partner's number, like, you know, emergency-wise, or we're planning a party. I do not want to talk to you. I don't care about your life. Like, your life has nothing to do with mine. Your life has to do with my girls. But that's it. Like, no. Let me know how you guys feel. Like, do you think that, like, it's cool if you guys are best friends with, like, your best friend's mans or whatever, partners? Because I just feel like there should be lines, you know? I think it's also, like, playing with fire because it's very, very close. You are friends with people because they are similar to you and you guys click. If their boyfriends click with them, chances are they're going to click with you too. And it can get real messy if they click with you better than your friend. I just want to stay out of it. So yeah, that's just my philosophy. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And I can't wait to see you guys for the next story. Bye, guys.
I have time for you. Know that you've been on my mind. Only you can get me right.